What is going on, everybody? Mike here. We are back with a Final Fantasy deck profile. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I'm really excited to do this because I'm getting back into the game, and we are in Dawn of Heroes or Opus 20. And yeah, and we've got some new Scions, and I'm really enjoying the new Scions. But I've decided to add it to splice in like some of the old Scions, some of like the good old Scions. So this is a tricolored Scion deck, and we're gonna get right into it, starting with the forwards. So we are running 3 copies of Alize. When Alize, she's a 4-drop lightning forward of 5,000 power. When Alize enters the field, I can choose one job Scion of the 7th Dawn, other than Alize of 3 cost or less, and put it from the break zone and play it on the field. So obviously we can't choose Alize because Final Fantasy, you can't have more than one copy of a special character. They don't have the little symbols on the side on the field. So we can use Alize to get a Scion from our discard pile or break zone and put it onto the field. And when we play a water forward, we can choose one. We can choose one forward our opponent controls and dull it. We're comboing that up with Alpha Node. Alpha Node is a 3-drop water CP 6,000 forward. Alpha Node has the ability when it enters the field, my opponent chooses one dull forward and puts in the break zone, and at damage 3, Alpha Node becomes a 8,000. So you can play Alize, and then from your break zone play Alpha Node. Alize's effect will trigger to dull a forward, and then Alpha Node's effect will trigger to your opponent can choose a forward and break it. So they only have one forward on the field. You play Alize, you use Alpha Node, you can pop dull, and then pop that forward. This. Getting into more Scions of the 7th Dawn, we are running 3 copies of Rahatia. Rahatia is really good. It has the ability, it's a 3-drop lightning, 7,000 CP forward, job Scion of the 7th Dawn. If we control a standard unit or category 14 character, Raha becomes a 10,000, and when he enters the field, I can pay X amount of CP and search my deck for a job Scion of the 7th Dawn forward and add it and play it on the field. So if you play this, what you can do is you can play this, you can pay 4 CP, you can get Alize from your deck, and then Alize, if you have an Alpha Node or another water forward in the discard pile, you can play that out as well. Nice little field presence there. We're also playing, well, this is 3-color, remember. We're also playing 3 copies of the Shadowbringers 2-player starter deck, Yashala. Yashala is a 6-drop Earth back forward with 8,000 power. Yashala can't be chosen by summons, by opponent summons. When Yashala enters the field, we can choose one forward in our break zone if the cost is equal to or less than the number of job Scions of the 7th Dawn we control, we can play it on the field. So we have 4 Scions in the field. We can grab Raha. Raha can pay and go get Alize and pay. There's a lot of field presence going on here with minimal amount of card investment. We're also running 3 copies of the Oracle of Light from the Shadowbringers 2-player starter deck. Oracle Light is a 3-drop light CP, 5,000 power. The job Scions of the 7th Dawn we control gain plus 2,000. She is not a job Scion. She is an Oracle of Light. And then when the Oracle Light is placed from the field into the break zone, I can remove the Oracle Light from play. And we can play a job Scion of the 7th Dawn from our break zone on the field. Dull. And then we are running 2 copies of the Water Orange, 2-drop CP Scion of the 7th Dawn, water forward, 4,000 power. When Orange enters the field, if there is a card in my side of the field removed from play, aka we can remove the Oracle from play, we can search for a category 14 forward and add to our hand. We're also running 2 copies of the Lightning Orange from the Shadowbringers 2-player starter. It's an EX burst, so when it enters the field or we take it as damage, we can look at the top 2 cards of our deck, choose a category 14 character we find there, and put it in our hand, and the other card goes on the bottom of the deck. We're also running 2 copies of the 7-drop Opus 12 Legend Thancred. He's a 7 water and lightning forward, 8,000 power. When he enters the field, I can choose one forward in our break zone. If its cost is equal to or less than the number of water forwards and backups on our field, we can play it on the field. And then when Thancred attacks, we can choose one active forward our opponent controls. If its cost is equal to or less than the number of lightning forwards backups we control, we can break it. We're also running 1 copy of the Opus of the Shadowbringer 2-player Shadowbringer starter deck, Thancred, 4 cost lightning forward, 8,000 power. When another Scion is played when Thancred's on the field, we can gain haste, 2,000 power, and brave. And then for the end of turn, and then also Thancred's ability Blasting Zone. We can tap Thancred and discard another copy of Thancred. Choose one forward, deal that forward damage equal to Thancred's power. So even dealing something 8,000 is really cool, and it's another really good way of getting the 7-drop Thancred in the discard pile, so we can bring it out with the Oracle Light. Or if we have 7 Scions on the field, we can bring it out with Yashala. We're also rounding out our Scion count with 1 copy of the Final Fantasy XIV starter deck, Yida. Yida is a 2-drop Earth forward Scion of the 7th Dawn with 2,000 attack. With the ability for each job Scion of the 7th Dawn other than Yida gains plus 2,000. And then when Yida attacks, we can choose 1 dull forward and deal it damage equal to Yida's power cut in half. So if Yida is 10,000, we'll be dealing at 5,000. If Yida is 6,000, we'll be dealing at if Yida is 12,000, we're doing at 6,000. And we rounded to the nearest 1,000. Round down, sorry, to the nearest 1,000. We're also running 1 copy of Einsteinian. Einsteinian is from Opus 20, Job Scion of the 7th Dawn, 4-drop. Its warp cost is 1 lightning, and so that'll let it play put it in and remove from game, which also works for Oriange, I believe. It has haste, and when it comes into the field due to warp, he gains brave, and Einsteinian can attack twice in a row. And when Einsteinian attacks, he gains 1,000 power and first strike until the end of turn. Going into our summons, summons is where I'm really having a bit of an issue with this deck. If you guys have any ideas, I would love to hear them. You can post them in the comments below. But we are running 3 copies of Pooh. Pooh is from Opus 4. It's a common. It's a 1-drop EX. So when we can cast it, or we can take it as damage. Discard 1 card, draw 2. This is really good for getting cards that we want in the discard pile, like Alphanode, Oriange, stuff like that, and we get to draw 2 cards. We're also running 2 copies of Unicorn from Opus 20. Unicorn is a really cool summon. When we play it, we can choose one of the following 2 effects. If we control a Category 6 forward, which we don't in this deck, I might try to work one in. If you guys have any suggestions for good Category 6 forwards, I would love to hear them. We can choose 1 forward, activate it, draw a card, or we can choose 1 forward, cost of 4 or less opponent controls, and return it to their owner's hand. So a nice little bit of removal if we're looking to push for game. We're running 2 copies of the Opus 12 common Rameau EX, another EX burst. We take it as damage and come into play, or we can pay the 5 cost for it. Choose 1 active forward, break it. Now, your opponent can play a card that will dull a forward to get rid of this effect, but if they take it as an EX burst, they will not be able to do that because they can't chain 2 EX bursts. We're also running 2 copies of Bahamut Zero. Bahamut Zero is a 6-drop lightning summon. Choose 1 active forward your opponent controls, break it, and then dull all forwards your opponent controls. This could be really good if we want to swing in for a game and our opponent has a bunch of forwards that we can't really get around. We can break 1, dull the rest of them. And rounding out our summons, we are running 2 copies of the Opus 1 rare Odin EX. Again, another EX burst. We take it as damage. Its effect triggers. Or we can pay the 7 cost to play it. And we choose 1 forward and we break it. Moving into our backups, we are running 3 copies of my personal favorite Scion backup, Minfilia. Minfilia is an EX burst, so if we take her as damage, her first effect will trigger as well. Or we could pay 4 to play her. Search our deck for when she enters the field, search our deck for a Scion forward and add it to our hand. And then we can pay 1 Earth and tap Minfilia, put her in the break zone, choose 1 forward opponent controls, and break it. And we can only play this, use this ability if we control 5 Job Scion on the 7th Dawn. We're also running 3 copies of Louisoix. Louisoix is from Opus 5. He is a 3-drop lightning backup. When he enters the field, we can search for Alizé or Alphanode and add it to our hand. We're running 3 copies of Loporit. Loporit is a standard unit, so it's going to help trigger, it's going to help give Rahatia a 3,000 power boost. When Loporit enters the field as a 3-drop water backup, we can draw 2 cards and then place 1 card from our hand on the bottom of the deck. If we have dead cards in our hand that we don't really want to discard, can't really do anything with, we can put them on the bottom of the deck and get new cards. And then we can pay 2 and tap Loporit and get the same effect. We can draw 2 cards, put our 1 card at the bottom of our deck. We can only use this ability during our turn. we're running 2 copies of Krill. Krill is an Earth, a 2 CP. She's just really in here for a job name to help with some of our other effects like Yashala and Ida and Minfilia. For a 2 CP, 1 Earth, 1 of any color, we can tap her and choose 1 forward. During this turn, it cannot be returned to the owner's hand by your opponent's summons or abilities. Rounding out our CP, we have 2. Running our backups, we have 2 copies of the Class 6 Moogle, 2-drop Lightning CP that can also produce Water CP. And we're also running 2 copies of Cosmos. Cosmos has the ability that you can play it on the field, even if there's another light character, like the Oracle Light. And she can also be on the field. You can also play 2 or more light characters. And she can also produce she can also produce CP of any type. So this will help like average out some of our CPs. I mean, for like when you're playing tricolor, you want cards like this because you want to be able to tap any CP anytime you want. So Cosmos helps with that. So we're going to shuffle up the deck, and then we're going to do some test hands, and we'll be right. Alrighty, so we have our deck shuffled up, and now we're going to draw the top 5 cards. And don't forget, in Final Fantasy, you have the ability to mulligan. So you can take all 5 cards and just put them on the bottom of your deck and draw 5 new cards. So we have Cosmos, Thancred, Rahatia, Alpha Node, and another Thancred. So the double Thancred's not really all that useful, but I am enjoying the rest of this hand. So we're actually going to keep this hand. And we're going to draw into Unicorn. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pitch Thancred to play Cosmos. And I think that's going to be my turn. We could be... No, that's a forward. Yeah, that's going to be my turn for now. So we're going to go draw into our next turn. We're going to get Minfilia and Oriange. So the Minfilia kind of sucks at this point because we don't really have the CP for it. I mean, we could, but we'd be overpaying, which honestly wouldn't be bad. We could toss that and pay to play Minfilia and search our deck for Alize. And then if our opponent has a forward that we don't really want on the field, what we could do... Oh, we're getting our cards all over the place. What we could do is we could pitch the Raha and the Unicorn for Alize and bring back Alpha Node. So that's something we could do. But if our opponent's not really putting a lot of pressure on us, we don't really feel threatened, we could just leave it for that and take damage. So we'll say that we took damage. We took a Moogle. We'll say we take 2 damage. Oriange. So Oriange is going to let us look at the top 2 cards of our deck. And so we're going to take Krill because we have to, because the Poo-Poo is not a... also, I just realized that in the deck profile, I was calling it Poo. Pew, not Pew-Pew. Poo-Poo. So we're going to add Krill to our hand. So we're going to draw for our turn. We're going to grab the Oracle of Light and Louiswa. So Louiswa is kind of useless at this point. So what we could do is we could pitch Louiswa, and we could tap Cosmos for any CP. And we could play Oracle of Light. And then we could pitch Unicorn and Thancred now to play Alize. And then we can use Alize to bring back Alpha Node and Dull and then break something. We still have 1 CP tapped. We have 2 cards in hand. And then we're pass turn. So we could, obviously at this point, we could... we couldn't really get anything off of Thancred, so if the Oracle gets removed from play, we'd probably bring out Oriange to search for a card. So if our opponent attacks, we'd block with Oracle Light, remove Oracle Light. We could bring out Oriange, and then we could use Oriange to search for a Category 14 forward. We could use that to search for Enstinian. We could use that to search for Yashala and pitch it for Kral. We could search for... We have a ton of options that we could search for. We could search for Ida if we wanted to play Ida right now. Ida would be 10,000. Although I think I pitched Ida. So let's just say for the record we search Ida. And then we draw for turn. So Ida's in hand. We draw for turn. We get a Loporet. We get double Loporets. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to tap for water, and we're going to pitch Ida to play Loporet. We're going to draw 2 cards. 1, 2, Minfilia and Louiswa. And we're probably honestly going to put the Louiswa on the bottom of the deck. Then we can pitch Minfilia for Krell. And then we could go on the attack with some stuff. We have four backups. We go on the attack. We could always block with Urianger on our next turn, but if we took some damage, it'd be Thancred and another Urianger, which would honestly at this point probably go for. Oh wait, that's the wrong Urianger. We have Raha or we have Loporit. I'd honestly probably grab Raha at this point because we would be able to bring out another Job Scion. If we wanted to, we could pay the 6 and bring out Yashala and bring back Ida. So how that would go is we'd come to our turn and I draw. So I'd pitch Raha, I pitch Urianger, and I tap Minfilia to play Raha. And then I'd pitch 2, tap 2 for 6 to search my deck for Yashala. Play Yashala. So when Yashala comes into play, how many Job Scions do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could theoretically at this point go for Thancred. If I wanted to. I don't have anything that I could bring back though, because I do have Urianger on field. But we just have like lots of stuff that we can do. So let's shuffle it up and play another hand and see how that goes. Like obviously that's like optimal, like assuming like I don't get like massively board wiped by like cards like the Fiend or stuff like that. So that's just like you can't obviously attract for like everything. Like that's like if we don't get like massively board wiped by like the Fiend or like Freya. All right, so hand number 2. We have Urianger, EX. We have Einsteinian. We have Louis Soir. This is actually looking pretty good. We have Rummo. We have another Louis Soir. And then, so I'd keep this hand for sure. And so we have Loporit. So what I do is I'd pitch Louis Soir and that for Louis Soir. Louis Soir would grab me, honestly, probably Alpha Node. Yes. Not Alizé, Alpha Node. Because on my next turn, I can discard Alpha Node for, Now on my next turn, I could discard Alpha Node for Loporit and tap Uri. So I do that. That'd be my first turn. Remember, you don't have to like go all out on your first turn. So on coming into the second turn, we would draw into Poo, and double Poo. That's horrible. So we'd actually tap. No, I do want to tap the. We tap that and play that and tap that to play Loporit. Loporit is going to draw us Yashala and another Alpha Node. That is kind of upsetting. Although we could that is actually very upsetting. That's not helpful. We could pitch the Alpha Node to play a Poo, discard a Yashala and draw. Oh my gosh, stop drawing Poo-Poos. So yeah, that's not overly helpful. So that hand wasn't the greatest. Drawing into 3 Poo-Poo in a row, not fantastic. So that was kind of a bum hand. We'll do one more. We'll do one more because that first hand was kind of Poo-Poo. All right, so what do we got for the third hand? We have Cosmos, very nice. Drawing into Cosmos on the opening turn is awesome because that's automatically going to fix any CP issues we have. Urianger, Alizé, Yashala, Thancred. I'd keep this. So what we do is we draw for turn. We draw into Urianger. That's perfect. So I'd pitch Yashala to play Cosmos. And then I'd pitch Thancred to play Urianger. Look at the top 2 cards. We got a Moogle and we got Alpha Node. Beautiful. Pitch that. Put that on the bottom of the deck. And that's my turn. So on the next turn, I can pitch Alpha Node. And if I have to, something else to play Alizé. And then Alizé could bring back Alpha Node. So good hand. So we're going first. So on our next turn, we get Yashala and Oracle Light. So what I'd actually probably do here is pitch Alpha Node and tap Cosmos to play the Oracle of Light. Because on her next turn, on our turn, we can then block. The only thing is we wouldn't get, like, we could grab Thancred on the next turn. It wouldn't do anything, but we could put another body on the field, right? Or we can block with Urianger and then get stuff going on. So we'll say our opponent attacks. We'd actually probably take 1 damage. And if they try to attack again, I block them with Urianger. So drawing on our turn, we have our third Yashala, which is upsetting, and a Minfilia, which is actually super helpful. So we'll pitch double Yashala for Minfilia. And Minfilia is going to go and search for, honestly, probably just a lightning CP so that we can pitch it for Alize. So let's go for Raha. Because we could bring Raha back with the Oracle, which would be actually a really good target. And we could pay cost to get stuff going on. Like an Ida or something of importance. Drawing into all those Yashalas was kind of upsetting. But it is what it is. We can't change that. So then what I do is I pitch that and that to play Alize. Alize would bring back Alpha Node. And then right there we have stuff on the field. So what I would do then is if my opponent attacked, I'd block with the Oracle. And I'd probably 3 Job Scions. Yeah, I'd remove the Oracle. I'd bring back Yashala. And I'd search for Urianger. I'd grab so Yashala would come out dull from the Oracle. Urianger, I would search for, honestly, probably Raha or Ida. I think I've discarded Ida. No, Ida's right there. I'd search for Ida, or depending on like if I lost Alize, I'd grab Alize obviously so we could keep the combination going. Like if we got board wiped on the Oracle, I'd bring back Yashala, and then I would search for Urianger, and then Urianger would get me Alize so that we could keep the stuff going. So, but I think this deck has potential. I might obviously I'm doing the playtesting in the playtest hands. I could see some cards that I'd rather get rid of. Maybe cut the Yashala down to like 2. And I mean, obviously, we're still looking for like more copies of Einsteinian. I would like to get the Lightning Yashala and the Lightning Fire Yashala from some of the newer opuses. But this is what I have for a test run. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Ding the notification bell if you want to get up to date on any Final Fantasy TCG content we do. Would you guys like to see me do more Final Fantasy TCG content? Let me know in the comments below. And stay safe out there, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.